you have asked me to do a new Subaru review, and this is here the Subaru Forester, new for the European market and for Germany, for example, in this very version, earlier in the North American market already. And we're going to find out why is Subaru on the one hand known as an old school brand. On the other hand, they have a very loyal customer group. Or is that exactly the reason? We're going to find out with the Subaru Forester here with Thomas Soundgefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with a sapphire blue vehicle and a strong front grille here. Large Subaru logo in this very generation. Yeah, I think the sapphire blue also fits very well here to my clothing for today, doesn't it? Then you can see here the modern daytime running lights as well. And we have some classic crossover wheel arches, this typical off-road look because it has a ground clearance of 22 centimeters or 9 inches. There's also a special version available in the US market if you wanted to even more off-roadish. And wheels 18 or 19 inch. These ones are the bigger 19 inch wheels. And you can see that the basic form of the vehicle is indeed rather old school. A lot of glass, rather less body work and so on. Whereas the modern design trend is more smaller windows and so on. Then here the length is 4.67 meters or 184 inches. So there are a lot of competitors in this very segment. A Toyota RAV4 would be the most sold one in this very segment. That's why it's also competing against this one here. Then the tail lamp design also been updated in this generation. Here it says e-Boxer, by the way, soon going to talk about the engines because Subaru is using flat engines or Boxer engines, as we also say in Germany. And in this case here, the EU market gets a mild hybrid system. Soon more about the whole engine lineup. Here we have a dark Subaru logo, by the way. This is also a higher trim model. Later also going to talk about the prices. And interesting here how we have this design that this one here is closed with this three-dimensional structure. On the other side we have the exhaust. I'm not really sure, maybe it's the Northern American market version with the 2.5. Does it actually have two exhaust pipes? If you have one, you can tell me, feel free to do so in the comments. Classic all-wheel drive or symmetrical all-wheel drive as Subaru is calling it. That means this is not one that is front-wheel biased or something. One of the old school all-wheel drives. Oh, this beeping sound when you have the daytime running lights activated is kind of critical. You heard it maybe on the microphone as well. Let's take a look under the hood. Because here for the EU market, so far you get the 2-liter 4-cylinder. Oh, sorry about that. Didn't know that the engine is so dirty still. So yeah, interesting. Probably needs an engine cleaning at some point. Big insulation mat here. So this one here makes only that would be wishful thinking. This one only makes 136 horsepower and over 12 seconds in the acceleration figure. And this mild hybrid drivetrain can give you some electric moments, but it won't change too much, honestly. We are waiting for a new hybrid, a full hybrid with 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery based on the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated engine that is out now in the US market, where you also get the pure 2.5 naturally aspirated engine, then also with more horsepower and around 9 seconds in the acceleration figure. So indeed, so far, a little bit underpowered on the European market. We'll drive this one here today. I think it would be pretty cool if we also get this new full inbuilt hybrid here for the EU market that would also be more fitting to the vehicle size overall. Now towards the interior with the Subaru key fob. And when you press the logo, then you open it. Other than that, here, when you press your finger here, this is like for the keyless entry. Door closing sounds. It's good, solid. Yeah, rear as well, that's nice. Then inside of the doors. Here in the top part, this is somewhat soft. So that's well done. And then here a different material, even softer, and some microfiber insets here in the higher trim level. Memory seating, and the door pockets are not covered with anything, but they're actually quite large also for bigger bottles. Optional Harman Kardon sound system. Then steering wheel with real buttons. Also somewhat clicking sounds. Volume, left side is then the drive mode selector, for example, and for the adaptive cruise control. Seats, the base trim levels would start with fabric seats. They would actually be a little bit more comfortable than these. This is like the animal skin surface only, but I mean, it's a mix. Some parts are animal skin, some are leatherette, and some are microfiber. Yeah, so they don't offer an animal-free choice for high trim levels, not yet at least. And then here, steering wheel, up and down, in and out. That goes well for different positions. And you sit relatively high. I mean, nowadays in some SUVs, Mercedes GLC is an example. It is classified as SUV, but it's more like a C-Class crossover, honestly. Not in a bad way. I mean, GLC drives phenomenal. It has the best suspension in segment, just to mention that. But you sit relatively low for an SUV. But here in the Subaru Forester, you sit relatively high in comparison to the competitors. So you have a true SUV feeling. And here the electric seat. So also up and down, forward, backward, and also the back part of the seat. And the headroom here with the panoramic roof. Still some space left, 189, 6'2". And there's a manual shade for the panoramic roof, and I found it totally okay. I like the manual shades, why not? And then electric, when I turn on the ignition, then I can, there we go. Then I can also open this roof, and so this is actually quite wide as well. And the interesting thing is also, here at the moment it's separated, but you can manually lock this one here basically in, and when you then close it again, you see here, it closes together. How clever is that? Yeah, you know, that's what I do for my hobbies. Finding out details like, do you want to show me one more time? Here. Also like this, when I'm like halfway, and then I put this one in, and then it goes back together with it. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, these are things that really fascinate me as a car enthusiast. Yeah, sorry about that. Now to the cockpit. Leah found out something very interesting. Do you want to show them? Here, the structure on the dashboard, look at that here. It's a nice, like this three-dimensional structure on this dashboard, nice decor element. You can also find it at the exterior of the vehicle, right there. So I'm really proud of Leah that she also takes on my crazy car monk style and finds these details. Very well done. So, and now, top dashboard is also a little softer, that's fine. And then you have this rather modern vertical infotainment system. How modern the software really is, we're going to talk about this later. However, what's cool that you still have buttons for warmer and colder here. So it's easy to press also while driving, also manual volume jog. So kudos to that. By the way, does it also trigger your OCD when the temperatures are not synced left and right? That's something that Leah often changes on her side. You know, fair enough. But then you can also sync it here and
leave the fridge open.
Yeah. Right, Leah sometimes leaves the fridge open. Yeah, I always close the fridge. Do you also have this trigger when someone leaves the fridge open? Tell me in the comments. So what I want to show you here already is from the graphic design here, also like in this temperature, I would say like, ding, 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 hello 90s. Ah, the 90s called. Oh, what's that? You know, yeah. Honestly, I think they could have made something more modern there, couldn't they? But then here. This is cool, classic shifting lever. There again, I think old school is good and fine. Inductive charging pad in the front, you can activate or deactivate it. That's good actually, because not everyone wants that. It's also not ventilated, so phones might overheat. Charging with the cables is here, USB-C and A. And then the cup holders, they are somewhat slightly adaptive, so to speak, but all hard plastic and so on. The armrest here is soft enough. Yeah, it's not that secure from left and right, and there's like a lot of space. You can just stuff things in there. And the steering wheel itself is actually a nice, rather sporty size, I gotta say. And as I said earlier, you have a rather upright, very high seating position here. And there's so much glass around you, everywhere you look, that you have a very good visibility from the inside to the outside. Also going to talk about it while driving. And the driver POV, once again here with the rear buttons, which have some nice feedback and clicking sounds here as well. And the instruments are a mix. Isn't it just pleasant to see an analog RPM meter? And Leah also just told me that she loves it too. Analog speed, there we go. And then here the digital speedometer in the middle, and also like for consumption and so on. Here, by the way, another advantage of the manual sunroof closing. There we go. So easy to give you a better image on the infotainment system when I quickly close it. There we go. So it's also not the quickest one, honestly. For me, the most important that you can change the temperature quickly manually as well. Most of the time you will use the Apple CarPlay like this, and it's also a fine integration, or Android Auto is also possible. Seat heating is down there though. Just the steering wheel heating is easier activated here. And if you really want to go in detail what we do here on this channel, look at this small light here. In the moment I activate it, it's brighter, and then it turns darker again. Now it's on. You can see it here now, and then it's off. But you see the difference? It's first brighter here, and then it deflashes a little bit, like gets lower from the brightness. And when it's really a sunny day, sometimes you cannot see what you're actually doing, if it's on or not. And if I would be watching our videos, I would be most looking forward to Leah's part for the day in every video. And I think you do so as well, don't you? Because we have a special feature here today with the sun visor. Look at that, because you can extend it with this additional card, basically.
But here
There we
it's
go.
fixed, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
That would be cool.
especially like on US highways, you know, it's really good when you like drive like 200 miles in one direction, the sun is coming from the side. It's always very helpful. As for the rear seats, first of all, the back door has only hard pack plastic here, but you have the microfiber insert here. Then no covering at the inside, but it's actually quite spacious for this pocket here. And then also rear seats, at least with these microfiber accentuations, it's cool. Isofix on the outsides each. Then we can fold on this here, with some lips here for the beverages and so on. Middle console is a mix of USB-C and USB-A charging. And when the engine is running, you can also activate the seat heating for the rear. And it's actually also quite spacious here, not too high, this middle tunnel. And you can see there is actually a lot of space here, a lot of knee room here, so more than in some of the competitors. And the headroom is actually a little bit closer, maybe due to the panoramic roof, but it raises here behind a little bit again. This kind of close with 189 6x2, but you sit also once again relatively high. This will be good for children indeed, and yeah, but overall it's a decent comfort in the rear and also good usage of space. And here you can also change the angle of the back seat, so this is like the most upright position, and then you can also put it more behind. And now comes a secret of this. Yeah, I can show you that in detail right here. So look at that. This is like this enlengthenment of the back trunk cover. And it's just like a rubber pad lying on here. And then when you move it backwards, there's like a lower and more backward position on both sides. And the reason for that is here, when I change the angle of the seat, then it's in line with here. You see what I mean? That is interesting, isn't it? So that's, you can see, this is then the more backward position. Here would be a more forward one, like this. And then I can also have like a more relaxing position. This one again also increases the headroom then a little bit. Let's take a look at the trunk or the boot. 5x10 liters we have here, and let's see about these square dimensions. So first of all, here this cover, no rails on the sides, so it's a little bit wobbly, so to speak. Fits underneath easily the trolley, and the width here between the wheel arches is even 1 meters 10. So that's actually quite cool already. So this is like 43 inches and even wider than here in the front part. Optional Harman Kardon sound system. Then underneath here, some space at least here. There we go. I guess this would be the place of the hybrid battery underneath. Let's take a look. Yeah, indeed, this is the battery underneath. Also says here like the MF battery. So here, 1, 2. This easily folds. So that's a good one. Look also here. This nice attention to detail. How you have this cover here that nothing can fall in there.
You know
also
the
nice
blueberry story?
Yeah, the famous blueberry story where I peeled out blueberries out of a Kia trunk. And then here the total length you can see here is 71 inches or 1 meters 80. It's also very usable, and of course for all our friends with dogs especially, here with the height. Whoa, look at that. So here we're at 83 centimeters or almost 33 inches. So that is very good. Indeed, square dimensions. This is where this old school design on the exterior has really good advantages on the interior. Yeah, very interesting on a technology level, isn't it? So maybe you've seen in the front hood, like with the red details, there were actually 2 12-volt batteries in the front, and then the third one, so 3 in total, third one here in the rear with 0.568 kilowatt hours, so half of the capacity that the true inbuilt hybrid would have. Yeah, now let's take a look how this one will drive. Sport mode. Okay, so that was 50 to 130.
In 20 seconds?
Yeah, I think. And I went here like to this SI mode, or so like here S and I, you have the modes. This is like from the SI drive system. I and S shows you like a different RPM curve, so to speak. I mean, this engine here, 136 horsepower from a 2-liter Boxer 4-cylinder, 12 seconds approximately, 0 to 100, and the 2.5 you get in Northern America would be 9 seconds, so that one is significantly quicker. So you see here in the acceleration onto the German Autobahn is probably the slowest vehicle I've ever accelerated on that part. I think even the Dacia Duster was a little bit quicker, yeah?
Swift is
Yeah,
quicker,
and this was really Swift, yeah. Yeah, interesting. So that's definitely nothing like for motorway overtaking performance and so on. However, noise insulation wise, here now at 140 kilometers an hour, it gets significantly loud as well. That's not that pleasant. Let's see how it is, like at which stage it is pleasant. 130, that's better. So 120 I think is fine, like 70 miles per hour. Let's check out how stable it is in quick lane changes. That's fine, doesn't shake up too much, although the suspension is soft, comfortable, I would say. Also, I've been driving some potholes earlier and it's doing quite well. There you can see like this off-road background of Subaru. So, but although it's rather set in a soft tone and with 19-inch wheels on there, it's really good that it doesn't shake up the car too much. And the steering is actually very likable. So it feels extremely natural. So it doesn't feel digital at all. You don't need too much force. But I would say it's exactly right. You have no dead zone area, so it directly responds. But still it has this some kind of off-road background to say like, yeah, I need to steer something. But I really like the steering feeling because it gives you this very fine connection, driver, car and road. So steering wheel is top-notch, like steering, like how it behaves is really top-notch definitely. And you have this panoramic view to the outside because of this classic building style of that vehicle. So that's very interesting because you rarely have this nowadays, you know, like this panoramic view. So it's a very good overview also when you look to the sides and so on, because all the cars that are coming new to the market have like tiny windows and large body panels. This is here more the classic body type style, so to speak, and that's really good for the view outside. And the car gives you a very relaxed feeling, I have to say that, with a good suspension and a nice steering, and yeah, as long as you don't drive too fast actually, but that's also not what the main thing is. You also heard when accelerating this CVT automatic goes like also not that pleasant, but when we soon drive more city traffic and so on, then you get also the advantages of this whole system. This one here also being the mild hybrid, and that means you do have some electric moments in the city. Soon going to show that to you, but first of all we want to give it here the German Autobahn test a little bit more, because there you really feel what the car is actually made of. But the whole chassis and so on, the car feels really stable, and you somehow feel like from a gut feeling if a car is well built, especially when you drive it at higher speeds. And here I do have somehow the feeling that it's kind of like a well-built vehicle that is somewhat stable and stiff enough and so on. So the chassis itself feels really good, gotta say that. And actually it is also fun to drive because of that nice steering, and the chassis feels good and so on. And you somehow have the feeling that it's not too off-roadish, so it's suitable for the road. But yet again, you know that all Subarus are basically off-road proof, and you could go off the road and hitting some off-road terrain at all times. That wouldn't be any problem to them. Lane change once again. Yeah, I mean, so also for long journeys, it's comfortable enough. Since they don't have any animal skin alternative, I told you earlier, I would tend to the fabric seats, going with the base trim levels, because they offer more comfort and they also stay cool in summer and also warm in winter time. There we go. And we are soon approaching like the nice S combination, and we can tell you more about the driving agility also at higher speeds. here at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour. That's also a good travel feeling, and there you won't have any problems with wind noise and so on. And you can also set all the driving settings here, like the cruise control on the steering wheel. So here now in this S combination, let's see. Again, also look at how I turn the steering wheel and how the corner is. Pretty equal. It's actually not too bad, actually. So for me, at least, it's fun. What about Ria? Not so? Yeah, yeah, maybe that. I mean, sometimes when the higher SUVs are not that stiff in the suspension, that's sometimes not that good for the passengers because they're getting shaken around a little bit too much. As for that, so back to the car. One more acceleration. Goes to 5,500. There we go. Yeah, that's 125. So especially when you do this Autobahn acceleration, you feel that hardly anything is happening. So, and for that car of that size, we are driving unloaded with 2 people inside here at the moment. And if you now think that we add some more load in the rear, so I feel that the European version is definitely underpowered for this one here. And assistance systems, blind spot monitor is here in the side mirror. So I see this dot there, that's actually fine. And I also want to test the adaptive cruise control. So here, setting with the right thumb, I can also activate or deactivate the active lane keeping assist. And what's good about it is that it doesn't need like much intervention or something. So it's actually very relaxed, it doesn't overcorrect stuff and so on, that's fine. However, keep hands on the steering wheel. You always have to move the steering somehow, and that's not the intention of like this being relaxed in the assistance systems. So it doesn't have like a capacitive touch recognition, and like small movement, it's not enough. Like you really have to, hey, I'm still there, I'm still there, I'm still there. And yeah, don't find it that good. So that's actually that's the thing with no power. I can't overtake this one here because see, like this one here is approaching with 120 kilometers an hour. So definitely this is it is a too slow car for the German Autobahn. Yeah, then uphill, as Leah said here, there's no chance I can overtake here. And yeah, that's actually not the plan. Oh, this guy probably...
Please with bitte folgen.
Follow me.
Follow me is bitte folgen.
Yeah, bitte folgen in German. Our German lesson for today. So the assistance systems wise, mixed feeling. So good that it's not that hectic, but the hands-on detection kind of annoying. And also this keep your eyes on the road warner. I mean, it's a mandatory thing meanwhile, but if I just slightly look to the side mirror or slide into the camera, I mean, suddenly, sometimes it comes like in a few seconds or something that I keep eyes on the road. Okay, but these are systems that are implemented by law, bit and bit. Yeah, some of the annoying things of nowadays car life, so to speak. Oh, look at that. Even near the motorway, because I'm off the throttle, heavy traffic, I was slightly in the EV mode. So using this mild hybrid system there now again. So when we're rolling, the engine is actually shutting off and we can save some fuel. And deactivating this speed warning while driving, maybe not the most clever thing, better do it before you start. Lower left part, click here, then speed assistance and speed limit warning function off. So 3 clicks. They don't have any better shortcut, at least not that I know of. Maybe you know something they have implemented so far, but I haven't heard of anything. Too complicated to deactivate it, definitely, but at least it's there somewhat, and they have this shortcut here to the assistance systems or to the vehicle functions there in the lower left. And now we're getting off the motorway and see more about this hybrid system actually, and also how the car behaves inside the city. So I'm off the throttle here now. Let's see when the EV, there we go, EV mode being engaged, RPM drop to 0. By that you can of course also save some fuel. That will be predominantly important for city driving, won't make such a difference. And of course on the motorway there, the engine just went on again. So let's see that. Sometimes you even hear that chime, you know, like this is also mandatory by law when you're driving really, really slowly that you have this EV chime that some people who can't see can still hear you actually. So it's also always an interesting thing to hear, definitely. And gotta say, this engine combination, and of course not that powerful, and that it's all smooth and so on, is of course somewhat better for the city then. And here also the soft suspension plays a bigger role when we have some potholes and so on. So this is definitely more suitable city vehicle than it is a motorway vehicle, and of course off-road suitable as well. And then here, of course, the wind in like this noise insulation and so on doesn't play such a role either. So actually, in the city, it's quite likable to drive, and once again, that you can also see from inside to the outside that well, gives this panoramic feeling. That's actually quite cool. And you sit very high here. And Leo talked about that earlier as well with me. So even for an SUV at that size, you sit very high above the road, and it's good to have then this overview feeling also, that you're not like maybe like in the C-Class AMG, like small windows and so on, everything is black from the inside and no panoramic roof or something, then you kind of feel like this caged in. But here it's more you're present in the moment with everything around you. And here also the CVT doesn't have a negative effect. So it's very smooth then, since you're just slightly on the throttle and go back and forth, and there actually it adds to a more relaxed feeling. Nevertheless, although you have sometimes these electric moments, and that can be good when you're rolling like to a traffic light and so on, it will not majorly change the overall consumption. Yeah, and as for the consumption, 8 liters and more kilometers, you can score with this one here, at least when you not driving faster than 120, 130 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn. So 29 mpg US, 35 mpg UK. And there you see that this mild hybrid system doesn't bring you too much actually. So once again, waiting for the inbuilt hybrid also to be available on the EU market. This might then be the most fuel-saving choice then on the American market or the Northern American market, because they also get that tech there from Toyota. Very interesting cooperation. Other than that, if you want more towing, for example, then you can go for the pure naturally aspirated engine then without the hybrid system on the NA market once again. As for the pricing, here in Europe, from 40 to maximum, as it stands here, high trim, 50,000 euros. Of course, not a very cheap offer or something like that. So there it already has some other competitors, which are, for example, better in dynamic driving and so on. But they have good reliability and this rather traditional, this classic approach. And the good customer service is what keeps the customers at the brands. So usually what we hear is that they do have a very good customer service at the dealers and so on. And maybe if you own a Subaru or have owned one in the past, you can also give us your experience to confirm or deny that. We really would be looking forward to that. The prices on the North American market, you can take like 10K off, so $30,000 to $40,000, something like that. But they are also always without the VAT, without the famous Mehrwertsteuer, as we say in Germany. So tell me what you think about the Subaru Forester in that comments here, and check out the competitors.